Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today it's kind of dark because the camera keeps wanting to focus on Anna and Elsa, and not me. Yeah, today's episode is about Frozen 2, the sequel to the hugely successful Disney Animation Studios feature film, and yeah, of course they were going to make a sequel. They made a boatload of money, and fans, little tiny pretty fans who all dressed in Elsa and Anna costumes around Disneyland. I remember when that movie first came out, I would go to Disneyland and holy cow, it just you could see a cluster of 6 4-year-olds in a group just all dressed as Elsa at the same time. It was kind of weird. So yeah, there was they were everywhere. And of course, they could not stop singing "Let It Go." This film does make a reference to that song a little bit in a way that Elsa even finds a little embarrassing. And yeah, I realize that this now franchise, this series of films, is. Hold on, let me focus on me a little bit here. Come on, me. Here we go. I realize this series of films now, and along with some shorts here and there as well. Olaf has done a few things on his own, solo act. Yeah, the oversaturation of the film and especially the song "Let It Go" has turned off a lot of people to it. I realize there's some parents out there who never want to hear the word "frozen" again. They don't make frozen meals. They don't go to cold places. They don't want to ever hear their children ever talk about it or hear the songs ever again. I get that. I get that because once a kid gets something in their head, they want to watch it or listen to it over and over and over and over again. That said, if you could put all that aside, this is actually a really good film. I wasn't expecting a whole lot from this. This came out in 2019. It's an hour and 48 minutes. I think it was a Christmas movie. It came out around Christmas time, November, December, something like that. And yeah, it follows up, of course, with our heroines there. They are now pretty well established in Arendelle, and Elsa is a princess. I mean, the queen. She's the queen. Anna's a princess. And they've got stuff in their lives. This is a film about a story about evolution, about change, and about even when you think you've reached a stable point, there's always something about yourself that needs to mature, possibly. And not only do the characters mature in the story, but the animation has matured a lot. I mean, I really love Disney Animation Studio. Always had the challenge of not relying just on Pixar. Even though the guys from Pixar have helped out in the Disney animation stuff here and there, but it's still they made a name for themselves going further back, doing the Big Hero 6 and Wreck-It Ralph, and I know I'm missing some even earlier ones, but Frozen is where they fully established themselves as, you know what, if Pixar didn't exist, I think Disney would be okay. They would survive because they're still making fantastic movies. They care about the stories and characters and music, especially because this is definitely a musical. You can't have Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel in a film and not have them sing. It's just the way it is. Or even a short. They got to sing like 3 notes at least in order to make this your time worthwhile. I actually had a friend who didn't like this a whole lot. I don't understand why she didn't, but and she was an adult, not a child. Children will be like, Frozen doesn't matter. Usually they don't care. The music to me was great. I love Into the Unknown. I love that. That's the big show-stopping number. And I realize a lot of these things are possibly crafted in a way so that they could be adapted to stage or they could be adapted to other things. And honestly, this I can only imagine. I've seen the Frozen show in Disneyland where they do this truncated version of the film where they just hit all the highlights and boom, 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 and move the story along of the original film. I don't know if they will ever make one of this, and yeah, I think this was definitely successful. It couldn't have been, but I don't know if it did as well as the original. The music to me is astounding. The Into the Unknown, if you watch the credits, obviously, Panic at the Disco does a great modern rock version of the song that Elsa sings, and Lost in the Woods by what's his face, Jonathan Groff, who plays Kristoff, does this great like 80s power ballad song about being lost literally in the woods, but also lost about what to do when it comes to him wanting to propose to Anna and doing it the right way and doing it. He's completely nervous and just confused about all of this. And at a point where he believes he's lost her forever, or he could have lost her in the mess of this adventure that they have gone on, where everybody's lives are at stake. Well, is it too late? And has he lost her, and what does he do? Where does he go if he doesn't have her? Well, Weezer does a version of that song over the end credits as well. Speaking of the end credits, yes, you want to stay to the very end. There is a after credits sequence featuring Olaf, and that's all I'll say. It's of course it's silly. It's not like it's a Marvel Cinematic Universe thing that attaches to to another film and just sort of builds out the universe. No, it doesn't. That said, this film, I will not spoil it if you have not seen it for some reason. It means you don't have kids, or you instinctively chose not to watch this film because you were trained to hate the first one because of the ubiquitous nature of the Let It Go song back in the day. Yeah, I mean, it's this is to your loss. It's this one I think is more action oriented. There's a lot more adventure action. Elsa is a superhero practically in this thing, and as I said earlier, the animation has jumped in just a few years by leaps and bounds. One of my favorite pieces, one of my favorite pieces in any 3D animated type films is how they animate the hair and the water of characters. And there's a part that is pretty much just all Elsa's hair, and she's struggling against tidal waves basically coming at her, and she's throwing ice at it in order to get some footing, and it's just gorgeously done. It's all sorts of other ice effects and things like that are just astounding. But one of my favorite things about this film is that yes, while these are not realistic proportions for a human face, the big eyes and the whatever, that it's very beautiful for a animated character kind of thing, and it makes them more, I guess, fantasy otherworldly. When they animate them, honestly, you could put this on mute and just focus on their faces, and also Kristoff and anybody else, any other human face in this, and you'll find some astounding details, some astounding levels of detail. I wonder if they did. I didn't check, but maybe we did watch the making of a year or so back, a couple of years back. I don't know, but the detail that goes into the facial expressions and even just the body movements. There's a point where everybody's traveling together on this adventure, and they get there in a wagon or something like this, and they see something up ahead, and they all jump out, and they rush forward to meet this thing they see. Again, not spoiling anything. And what I found amazing is that the moment that Anna came to a stop, she just didn't stand there. Her body was still, like, from the run, from the dash that she had done. Her body was still breathing heavy. It was not like but it was subtle enough that it was a realistic response to making a quick run to a certain point where it would be like, oh my gosh, and the excitement and the tension, everything else. And again, I'm going to keep going back to the faces. The faces, there's so much subtlety in so much of the facial animation that whoever did this, you guys did a great job. It's so freaking gorgeous. I know you're all watching this, I'm sure, but it's something amazing to see. And there's no shortage of just big animation moments, big story moments in this. Of course, this is based on the story of the Snow Queen. It's inspired by it. It's not a one-to-one, I'm sure, by Hans Christian Andersen. There's even kind of a reference to Hans Christian Andersen in this, subtle as it is, but it is to the author himself. But in this, I want to, without spoiling anything, we get to see a little bit of history rather than going forward as we see these characters wanting to understand what's next for them as we do. We get to see some history, what led them to be who they are, and why is Elsa, out of two sisters, why is Elsa somebody with superpowers? Essentially, she's Iceman woman. So, I mean, and that's a tremendous high level power when you can manipulate moisture and temperature and everything else. That's no small power. You can devastate entire regions depending on how you handle that. It's not just a weapon you can zap, do things with it. As we've seen in the X-Men comics with Iceman, he's an underrated. It's an underrated power. So, along with this, of course, Josh Gad, who plays Olaf, is in this. We got Jonathan Groff, as I said, Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Sterling K. Brown shows up in this. I think you know him from This Is Us. Evan Rachel Wood plays, I think. Why is my eyes aren't working? Evan Rachel Wood, Alfred Molina, Doc Ock from Spider-Man, Martha Plimpton, Jason Ritter. There's so many more. Jeremy Sisto, Rachel Matthews, and Alan Tudyk has a little tiny spot, a little piece in this because it seems like he has to. He's in pretty much every Disney animated movie, even just little parts, or even a callback to characters that have existed in the past. One thing to remember in this: water has memory, apparently. So that is a humongous hook in this movie, and leads to connecting a number of things. But as we find the characters at the beginning of the film, they're wondering what's going to happen with going forward there in Arendelle. The seasons are changing, therefore they are changing. There's all sorts of metaphors that Olaf is spouting that he doesn't even understand. Of course, Kristoff wants to propose to Anna, and Elsa is once again hearing a call from far away. Well, she didn't hear it before, but she's being drawn somewhere other than where she's expected to be. And yes, there are bigger metaphors, there are bigger stories in regard to this. Whereas we finally have the romance that we didn't have in the last one. The impulsive Anna meeting a guy that she barely knew and falling in love with him because it was expected of her. It's a commentary on past princess movies that Disney had put out, and this also deals with the fact that Elsa is a character. Where is she drawn to? Is it an otherworldly thing? Is it a higher power? Is it a lover? What is it? Where is she going to find herself? And what is it she seeks most of all? An understanding of who she is and where she belongs. And that's what any of us seek in our lives. And that's kind of it's an interesting thing. And I don't think it clearly states that this is the way it should be for all of us. This is the way it is for all of us. It just says that it's okay that you do not fit into a specific mold that is expected for everybody else. You can find your own way. And how you find it and where you find it is all right. So that is the very general broad message of the film to a degree. There's probably more to it, and I'm not going to get deeper into it. I'm not here to analyze the whole thing, but yeah. That's what I got to say about it. Let us pick. I think we've seen mostly all the Frozen stuff now. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
486.
486. Maybe that's in the thes. No, yeah, maybe. Yep. Somebody's horns going off. Oh my. Speaking of classics, Hans Christian Andersen. This is the adaptation that was not I don't. Was it a Disney thing? I can't remember if it was a Disney thing or this is a 20th Century Fox thing that was brought over. But I have seen this one also. We're going to be watching the very long title. I don't know how I'm going to fit this on the image for this thing, but it's super long. We're watching The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yeah. Based on the C.S. Lewis classic, right? C.S. Lewis? Why is my brain blanking on, seriously, the writer? The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe of C.S. Lewis. If I'm wrong, then good grief, I'm just going to be super ashamed. I mean, I grew up with that book. Come on. Chronicles of Narnia. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.